Welcome to Fireside Yankees. My name is Alex, and my co-host here, Nick Nielsen, coming off an awesome performance, really, from JP Sears, rookie, first MLB appearance, and for the most part, he looked pretty damn good. 94 mile an hour with this fastball, showed some really great location, worked out of some trouble in the first inning after the Gleyber
Yeah.
Torres fumble. Not a good start for him, but he still managed
Gleyber
to come back.
masterclass.
Gleyber masterclass, managed to get a pop out to shortstop, and then he managed to strike out. I believe it was Ryan Mountcastle after he was down 3-0 in the count, too. So he fought his way back and struck him out. Damn good resiliency, some good discipline, obviously good location. I want to take a look at Sears and some of the injuries that have been arising over the last couple of days and the impact it's going to have. But before we do so, Nick, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing pretty well. Honestly, really well. I mean, yesterday I was getting all hyped up for what I was hoping would be a young guns performance for the Yankees, and that's exactly what it was. Got to see my boy Ron Marinaccio pitch, and boy, did he pitch really, really well. His changeup was absolutely disgusting. One of the best pitches I've ever seen. So that's an 80 grade pitch, in my opinion. So I'm very excited about that. Going to be ordering my Marinaccio jersey next week. So very excited about that. I'm pretty good. I'm honestly doing, no real complaints. Yesterday was a big win. We needed to end on a high note before we come into Tampa, which is, as many call, the baseball stadium equivalent of a porta potty. No one likes playing in the warehouse. We always have problems there. So it was good to get some mojo, get some energy going into this series. And the only guy that we used yesterday out of the pen that I wasn't too hyped about using was Clay Holmes. But it was a safe situation. And I guess that's Boone's way of saying this is our new closer. So I'm very happy that we now have a closer that I'm comfortable with. Even though I didn't really want to use him yesterday against Baltimore, because now he may not be 100% usable today against Tampa. But it is what it is. No real complaints. Very happy. 33-13. It's still the best record in baseball. Still leading the AL East. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, look, 2 runs yesterday isn't exactly what we wanted, but we blanked Baltimore, who's been batting us around a little bit the last couple of days. The Yankees obviously had a lot of reserves in, ranging from, you could even say Kyle Higashioka was a reserve at this point. Marwin Gonzalez, Miguel Andujar, Hicks, basically the water boy. He's still playing. JP Sears, obviously first start. Marinaccio pulled up. Lucas Luch, who, has had his struggles this season. And of course, Miguel Castro's been thrust into a bigger role with Chad Green not really being that setup guy with the injury. He needs Tommy John surgery. So a lot of supplemental baseball going from the Yankees here. And at some point, it was just kind of crazy how fast it happened, right? We went from everybody being healthy to everybody being injured in the course of literally less than a week. And how do you think they look to actually replace Stanton in the cleanup spot? I'm curious to hear your opinion on that one.
It's so difficult right now because so it's like you lost Stanton. DJ's got the wrist issue now, and I believe Stanton we thought it was calf tightness, but apparently Dr. Boone weighed in on the matter, and he said no, it's an ankle injury. So I'll take that 11 times out of 10. 100%. Calf injuries suck, and for someone like Stanton that's 6'7" and is massive, that would take a while for him to kind of come back from, I imagine. So luckily it seems to be an ankle thing. So Boone said he hopes it's only going to be 10 days minimum, the minimum day for IL for him. But the other thing is that losing Stanton now, I think we'll see Josh Donaldson when he comes back from COVID IL. I think we'll see him take that spot in the middle of the lineup, probably about fourth. And then from there, it's really interesting because now everyone's going to have to bump up a spot. And the Yankees bench options in no way, shape, or form deserve to be batting where Stanton's batting fourth in the cleanup spot. Like, that's just a recipe for disaster. I mean, Gleyber in the 4, I wouldn't be mad about because he has been performing quite well. Even some of his underlying numbers this season are still not giving him credit. So Gleyber, I think, has like a 120 WRC plus on the year. So he's doing his job, and I wouldn't mind seeing him bat fourth. It's just that's the problem we have now, is that all the guys on the bench are not at all suitable for batting there. And the guys in the back half of the lineup, I do not want to see batting there. So in terms of hopefully when Donaldson comes back, this whole Tim Anderson spiel can be kind of put aside him, even though his follow-up comments pissed me off.
I hope he learned something. Didn't sound like he learned anything.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, Josh, Tim literally just came out and said, you've said this before, and I don't fuck with you like that. I'm not talking to you. We're done. And you then follow up that by saying, I still stand by what I said. Like, I still think it was a joke. I've said it before, so I'm not like mad, but I'm sorry I offended him, and I'm sorry if I offended the Jackie Robinson family. So it's like, Josh, that's
Making
not the whole
racial
point of this,
jokes
dumb
isn't a
dumb.
joke.
That's what I'm saying. That's not the whole point of this, you dummy. Like, I was defending you at first because I thought you had the right intentions and that it was just a misconception of words by everyone in the public. But now you're like defending it. So I don't know how I feel about that. I do not feel good about that. I can tell you that much. But again, it's hard because I will always root for Yankees players when they have the jersey on and they're playing in the lineup and they're contributing to the team trying to win a World Series. But Josh Donaldson, not a good look, my friend. However, if he comes back and he serves a suspension and he plays, let's say, tomorrow or the day after for in the Rays series, depending on how he looks for COVID, I don't know exactly how it's looking. That he'll probably slot in 4 for now, where Stanton was, to answer your question. I know that was a really long roundabout way to get there, but we have a lot of problems with this lineup right now. So 4 is just one of the many issues. Like Aaron Hicks is still batting leadoff because now DJ's out, and that is a recipe for disaster. Aaron Hicks tried to fucking ruin Clay Holmes' save yesterday, if he had anything to say about it. What the hell was that? Can you give me your opinion on what was happening with that play in and shallow center field? Like, I know we don't know
Uh,
who called it off or whatever, but what was Hicks doing?
I mean, I don't know. Like, you have to ask him. At this point, like, he's been picked off, trying to steal a base before the guy even started to throw his whole windup. He's just been making bad decisions all around. Like, he had a couple hits the other day, but like still got picked off at second base after getting on base. Like, he's just, even when he does something good, he backs it up with something bad, and then it just keeps piling. It's just another thing where it's just like, you know what, man, if your guy is doing his best to get this save, get you guys a win, second consecutive win with a team
Don't
destroyed with
sabotage it.
injuries. Yeah, like, you got to just do your pitchers a favor, man. You can't put them in a position, because think about it this way. If Hicks, misses that ball, Clay Holmes gives up a hit, suddenly they're on the board. Think about what that does to a pitcher's psyche. You know what I mean? Like, suddenly, like, I just went to work and my team can't doesn't have my back, lose a little bit of
Exactly.
confidence next outing. It's all mental. Baseball's all, I mean, of course you have to have the talent, but most of it's mental. If you're not
Yeah.
confident, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna strike out. You're gonna throw a fastball down the freaking middle. You've got to be confident. And when your guys are not helping you on the back end, it's really hard to maintain that.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's what sucks about it, because it's like, and if Clay had given up a run, who knows? Maybe Boone would have had to think about pulling Clay and expending another bullpen arm in a very winnable game that you probably shouldn't have had to expend another bullpen arm. That could have come back to bite the Yankees in the ass, and it would have been all Aaron Hicks's fault. So that's what I try not to piggyback and hate on individual players a ton, but with Aaron Hicks, it's literally becoming got to the point where he actively is hurting the team. He has a 23 WRC plus in his last 15 games or 14 games. How do we keep running him out there? It's just dumb. But I know that's not the point of this episode. The point of this episode is to shower JP Sears with praise. As you mentioned, his first career MLB start. And he shoved. First 2 innings, it looked like, oh God, he's going to hopefully go 4, because he threw like 60 pitches in the first 2 innings. And then he settled down and was on cruise control for the final 3, got through 5. The Yankees, that's all they could have asked for. I believe he had 6 strikeouts in 5 innings. Like he looked very solid.
5?
Oh yeah, 5 strikeouts. My bad. 5
5
strikeouts in
strikeouts.
five strikeouts and 2 walks in 5 innings. That's what it was. And that's not bad. Again, for your first career start, not bad. And for everyone watching, sorry about the bear in bed behind me washing my sheets. So looks like I'm looks like I'm living like a vagabond. But I don't want people to be worried. But I think that JP Sears, he is the title of this video, and what you want to talk about is how he's Heel's replacement. And that's exactly what he is now. He got optioned down because we don't really have a spot for him now. However, I wouldn't be mad to see him in the bullpen, but he's going to be that guy that's constantly on the train between Scranton and New York. He's going to be the guy that we go to a lot this season for the spot starts, for the double headers, for when we have 18 games in 18 days. Like, those stretches, we're going to see a lot more of JP Sears this season, and I'm all for it. He looked really, really good. Granted, his sinker doesn't move like a normal sinker. Like, it rises, and I don't really see sinkers rise. I see like Miguel Castro's that like darts. I see a lot of the common ones that just drop, but I've never seen a sinker that rises. And that's what JP Sears' pitch does. So that's pretty sick. I don't know. It was just an awesome game to watch. Very happy for him. His family was in attendance. Ryan Ruocco did a great job talking to them. He's one of the best in the business, even if Pops didn't want to talk. I don't know.
He
It's just
did. He
awesome
did
to see
not
the
look
young
like he
guys.
wants to talk.
No, he apparently, like, they spoke about it, and he said beforehand, he's like, I'm not talking. I'll sit here, but I'm not gonna talk. I'm too locked in. So you gotta love it. The young
I
kids came up
respect
and
that.
did their job, dude. Like he to Marinaccio could be a thing that we see a lot if the Yankees don't trade them. And I saw people promoting that idea where they're like, hey, if these guys perform well, the Yankees can trade them for someone. And I'm like, guys, I don't want to trade
What are
either
we
one
going
of
to
these
trade them
guys.
for? Are we
That's what
trading
I'm
them for
saying. We
other
need
bullpen
them.
arms? Might
Like
as well
that's
just keep
we
going.
yeah,
This
Marinaccio
is
is
the
worth
position that we're this is the position we're weakest at. What are we going to trade them for? Another
exactly like
bullpen arm?
why?
Like it makes no
You
that's
trade two
logically
up and coming bullpen
inept.
arms for a guy that's probably gonna be in his 30s as a bullpen arm. Like, why would you do
Makes
this?
no sense.
Unless
I
and
mean,
I
look,
think it was
we've
maybe for
literally
Hap.
developed them.
And I'm like, why would you? I wouldn't give up either one of
What?
these guys for Ian Happ. I saw, I don't know, I saw
Oh,
a couple of hypotheticals, and I'm like, look, I like Ian Happ a lot. We talked about Ian Happ, but I wouldn't give up Marinaccio and
I'd
Sears for
rather
Ian
give up
Happ.
younger guys. I'd rather
Yeah,
give
and
up
I'd
like a
rather
Trey
give up guys
Sweeney
that don't
or
have the
others
stuff they do. Marinaccio's
or
changeup is
aren't making
legitimately
impacts.
an A plus 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 pitch. Like he threw it 14 times yesterday and got 6 whiffs on it. Like it was that's a
Crazy.
very good conversion percentage. Like I posted it on the Fireside Yankees Twitter for a comparison. That was the second most whiffs on a single pitch yesterday. Sears had the most with 7 on his sinker. However, he threw that pitch 42 times. So Marinaccio has the stuff. He just showed he can pitch in close games when the Yankees need him to. Like he pitched 6 and 7 yesterday in a 2-0 game. And they weren't like easy at bats. Like they were, the Orioles are not a bad team. They've stolen series from the Cardinals, from the Rays, from the Red Sox, from us. I believe split with the Twins. Like the Orioles are a pretty decent team, especially for all the expectations coming into the year. So I think JP Sears going 5, striking out 5, only walking 2, and then settling down after the first inning of like 30, 35 pitch baseball because of Gleyber Torres. Um, that's all you can ask for a guy that's making his MLB starting debut. Like I know he appeared out of the bullpen, but like that's a huge ask for a guy, and he went out there and shoved in New York too. Like it wasn't like it was in Baltimore. Like it was in New York. So I don't know. I was very impressed. Very impressed.
Yeah, me too. But let's talk about JP Sears just for one more moment here. As that kind of extension to the rotation, the Yankees are going to need some supplemental guys that come in and help mitigate that fatigue down the road. For the guys like Luis Severino, Garrett Cole, I think he'll be fine personally. But Severino's a guy, Jameson Tyone, those are two pitchers who need help down the road in terms of mitigating their fatigue because eventually they'll become injury prone with the more pitches that they throw. So JP Sears, I mean, this guy came in 26 years old, 5'11", 180 pounds. He's a small dude, like in terms of his weight, but like the guy throws with impeccable accuracy. Looking at his pitch selection, he's throwing his fastball, slider, and changeup, right? So he threw his fastball at about 94 miles an hour, 61.8% of the time. Slider about 29% of the time, and then threw his changeup about 9%. So,
Yeah.
Has those 3 primary pitches, relies on that fastball, but the thing is, the velocity isn't blazing. It's the location that makes it so dangerous. So
Yeah,
he
it
knows
rises
exactly how
so
to dot
much.
those eyes, and
It's
it
insane.
rises.
It
So
reminds me of Justin
it's
Verlander's
intriguing.
fastball. Like I don't know if you saw that
Mhm.
documentary a couple years
But
ago
he
on
throws like
Netflix.
100 though. He's throwing
No, yeah, but
100
I'm
in his
saying like
prime.
a couple years ago, Verlander appeared in a Netflix documentary like Fastball, kind of
Right.
like the knuckleball documentary. And he was talking about how his fastball, like the perceived velocity of it, like it rises when it comes to the plate. And he was like, I don't know how it does it, but it does it. So with JP Sears, like I said, I've never seen a sinker do that. And his fastball like flutters and then it rises to the top of the zone. And it's very hard to hit. That's why he got 7 whiffs on it. But the only worry I have with Sears is that he is a 3-pitch pitcher and he doesn't really like to throw his changeup a ton. So he's more a 2-pitch pitcher than a 3-pitch pitcher with that sinker slider. So that's why I feel like he's destined for the bullpen and destined to be a big piece of the bullpen. So I'm fine with him doing this, like I said, the train ride back and forth between Scranton and the MLB, be that quadruple A guy that we use, because he does have the stuff and he can pitch 5 innings, as he just showed. But to use him the best, I don't know, because it's just he only throws 2 pitches really well, if we're being honest. And that is a perfect recipe for a good middle and back end bullpen arm. Like that's what we do with Clay Holmes. He throws the exact
Totally.
same combination, sinker slider.
I mean, we have a lot of sinker ball pitchers. Of course, you got
They're like
Michael King.
10.
Now you got JP Sears. But here's the thing, right? In my opinion, keep putting out JP Sears as a starter until eventually you're like, okay, he's wearing down. We're seeing you need a larger sample size to see how many pitches does it take for him to start to wear down. Where is his
True.
hot spot? He said yesterday, as the innings went by, he got sharper and more focused. So, got the jitters off, had a great first start. Let's see him against better talent too. Like the Orioles, that's like a great way to get some confidence. But I want to see him against the Rays. I want to see him against Toronto. I want to see him against Boston and Fenway. You know what I mean? I want to see him against AL East opponents away, in their stadiums, not a Yankee Stadium with all of his friends and family in a comfortable environment where he is allowed to fail. I want to see him on the road in hostile territory with people heckling him. That's where we're going to see if he can be that starter or not. But again, like you said, you don't even see him as a starter. You see him as a better bullpen arm. And if he ends up like, okay, his max, like he starts to fall off after about 50 pitches, you can look at him as a middle inning guy where like him and Michael King could just alternate, right? You're talking about taking over in the 6th or 7th inning, carrying them to the 9th, and then closing it out with Chapman or Holmes. That takes a lot of pressure off of guys like Castro, takes a lot of pressure off of Loizica, who now has right shoulder discomfort. So,
Marinaccio now, apparently.
Marinaccio, he has discomfort too?
No, I'm saying like Marinaccio now getting those innings.
I was about to
say, takes pressure off him.
Like, oh my God.
No. If Marinaccio had right shoulder discomfort, I would cry. I wouldn't have done this episode today.
No.
I would have been AFK today. You would not be hearing from me. If that on top of the Donaldson shit, I would have just been, it would have been like the SpongeBob episode where like SpongeBob's nose pops and he deflates. That would have been me today. It would have been a long day. But no, like what I'm saying is like Marinaccio's now getting those kind of big moments, it seems, or at least looks like they want him to, like judging how they used him yesterday. I know it was against the Orioles, so they didn't want to use their big guys, but 2 innings of 2-run baseball, holding it down while your offense isn't doing too hot is a pretty big ask. I got to say, it looks like they trust him. So that's all I wanted to see. And that means that in Tampa, we may see Marinaccio pitch in a big spot. And a lot of people are comparing him to like Adam Ottavino. Even though I've seen some Tommy Kahnle comparisons as well, because he relies so heavily on that changeup. But if you watch how he like does his delivery and his windup, he does the exact same thing, except a little bit less pronounced as Craig Kimbrell, where he does that kind of like swooping arm, and then he like comes up and then does a little glove flutter, and then he throws it. And he dots with a lot of accuracy. That's the problem with Marinaccio. I know we've kind of segued from Sears to Marinaccio, but it seems like when Sears is starting, that's what they kind of want to do, is Sears Marinaccio or Sears Schmidt, on those days where it's like you're not expecting 6-7 innings from your starter. Like I like those combinations, because that basically, like yesterday, Sears and Marinaccio, if you were to like add them together, they went 7 innings of 8 strikeout baseball and 0 runs. So that is an elite start by any starting pitcher. So if we can get that going forward from those guys, and if we see more of Sears, which I imagine we will, we definitely should. He's way too good for AAA, and so is Marinaccio. So it's like we have to see these guys a lot more as the season goes on. They delivered yesterday when called upon, and when given the shots, that's the thing. You're the biggest advocate for this, where if you give guys reps, the performances will come, unless you're Aaron Hicks. So give them the games, give them innings, and they will pitch well. We saw it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, this is my last thought before we wrap up here, and the idea is players that have potential and there's lots to untap, give them the reps. The Aaron Hickses of the world, the Joey Galls, we already know what they are, and they're struggling. There's no point. You already know what their ceiling is. You know what they're not going to give you. You know what they're going to give you. And you have the Marinaccios. You have the Yankees have the best record in baseball. They have the best record. They have a cushion about 5.5 games in the AL East. This is the opportunity to start to test your youth players, because you have a cushion. You're not behind. You can afford to give up game or two, and then win them back as guys get back. This is your chance to test your young guys. If they can come out and perform and show you that they can help you down the road, that middle season stretch where injuries start to plague a lot of other teams too. This is where the depth makes the difference between that number 1 seed or being a wild card. So we're going to see that unfold.
Absolutely right.
I'm going to see that unfold. And I'm excited to see what these young guys can do, because ultimately we have a lot of really great talent in the farm, and I really want to see them succeed and get the opportunity. It seems like the Yankees are giving them that. But guys, down below,
let them do it.
Absolutely. And, down below, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. As always, let us know what you think about JP Sears, Marinaccio, some of these younger guys, and how they're making you feel in terms of their success, and where do you think they could improve? Do you think we should keep relying on them, or do you think we should be hitting the trade market to try and acquire more guys? I'm very curious to hear your opinions, as always. And make sure to have a phenomenal rest of your day. We'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.